So we're about a week into the release of Persona 5 The Phantom X, and I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, if you haven't been playing, how good is the game? Is it a true Persona 5 experience, or is it just a bit of a cash grab using the Persona 5 name? Well, in this video, I am going to give you my review, having played the game for about 40 hours. If you're here for a little TLDR, the game is good, 100%. I can, as far as I've played, recommend this game to anybody who enjoyed P5 or P5R. So as far as the plot goes, this game presents itself as a sort of lower stakes version of Persona ideas and plot lines that we've seen before. In this world, people are being drained of their desire, ultimately resulting in some people not wanting to do much of anything at all. A bit of a pandering move considering the type of people that are going to play this game, but still an effective premise that opens us up to the way people are being affected by the metaverse in this game and the way that desire can be contorted, which leads me on to our first antagonist. Let's be honest, the Subway Slammer is absolute cinema. When we first see him, we think nothing much of him. He is very much set up to be level 1 boss, but quickly, through sheer aura, he may have proven himself to be the most powerful, dominant Persona villain of all time. Okay, all jokes aside, I actually do really like Takayuki Kiyuchi as the first antagonist in this game. His premise is pretty silly, let's be real, especially considering some of the things that happen within his storyline. The game knows that. But just when I thought that the game was going for a sort of a meme villain, our hero is shown through a premonition, so it's a bit of a hokey way to do it. He's shown one of the worst case scenarios that this man's actions could end up bringing to reality, where he slams a woman off the stairs who's pushing a stroller, ultimately killing the baby. Again, I thought it was really effective to show like a regular common day antisocial behavior and then show some of the real worst case scenario outcomes that could happen any day of the week. It sort of just reinforces one of the more pertinent metaphors of Persona, being that what appears to be slightly bad behavior could ultimately spiral out of control if it is left unchecked, be that small character flaws or major personal issues that can affect the people around you. But moving on from that, and Subway slamming aside, the actual gameplay in the start, it seems like the game is going to be a lot more fast-paced than Persona 5. However, it is a ruse. That is not how the game goes. You are sort of on rails for the next, I'd say, about 15 to 20 hours, depending on how closely you're following the main story. You can always break away to do daily activities like you could in Persona 5, but the sheer tutorialization of every aspect of this game before you break away is sort of an absolute downer, just because it goes on for so long. Again, I don't mind receiving a tutorial that forces me into taking the inputs that it wants me to take in hour 2, but when it's hour 16, sort of pushing it. But once you're through that, the game does open up, and this is where I feel like you truly do get the Neo Persona experience. Going to school, working a part-time job, doing side quests, moving ahead with social links, they're all in the game. And I would like to add that this game has a calendar type system minus the calendar aspect. So you can just take things very much at your own pace. Quick tip, if you need to zoom around doing stuff for your house, just press Q. I didn't do this for about 20 hours, but you hit Q, it shows you all the facilities in your house. It gives you a list of all the suppliers, the shops where you can buy things from. It's just way quicker, and it took me way too long to realize it was even there. Another thing you can do, other than just regular daily tasks, you can zip in and out of Mementos whenever you want. There is no time penalty nothing. You can go to the palace, to Mementos, to some of the Velvet Room trials, literally whenever you want. And that's sort of where I've spent a lot of my playthrough. So one of the aspects of Mementos in this game is to collect tickets. And you're going to be spending a lot of time driving around in your little Lufel car, smashing shadows and collecting tickets. Now, I am playing free to play, so I actually found a lot of these Mementos sub-bosses an actual challenge, like a tough challenge. Not to the point where I wanted to whip out the credit card or anything, but I did have to just skip a couple. They are not easy by any means. Some of them have their own special mechanics, and they will wreck your day. Okay, so what are the characters like in this game? To be honest, I know I'm 30 hours in, but I don't have an amazing grasp on my main cast at current. The main character himself is an absolute dope. In some ways, I actually appreciate the game not showing him to be a know-it-all. He is constantly confused by the archaic language of Lufel, and it's not even that archaic. Maybe I'm getting old, so actually, moving on. Lufel, he is just a better version of a mascot character, a little bit in the same way that Arai acts and behaves. Now, this may sound like a detriment, but the vibe that the cast in this game give off is that they feel in some ways derivative of older Persona characters, but they've had the more annoying aspects of some of these characters sort of sanded off. And while that sounds like a bad thing, it actually makes them a lot more palatable in just the more regular scenes. The best way I can put it is that in the early hours of Persona 5, I already hated Morgana, whereas in this game, despite not being loads to chew on, I actually like everyone in the cast. When it comes to the character designs in this game, I will say they are pretty much all quite solid. I think the main character in and out of his Phantom Thief form looks extremely cool, and the fact you can pick his outfit is a massive bonus as well. I just hope there's more free options going forward. Lufel is just an absolute improvement on Morgana or Teddy. The only issue I've had with any of the character designs is I think some of the character portraits for the Slammer are a bit basic. They don't have the same level of detail as some of the other main characters, and I think that Arai's Phantom Thief form looks really good, except that disgusting mask that just doesn't go with the outfit at all and really stands out anytime she's talking. It's pretty grim. I literally want to pull just to get her out of the squad because it's that bad. Speaking of pulls, might as well get into the gacha mechanics. If you're worried about being funneled into spending money in this game, I will say I haven't found it a problem at all. Again, like I said, I'm about 30 hours in, and I can see where down the road I could perhaps have some urge to splurge, as it were, on some of the banners that come out. But as far as I am, you can do everything in the game with just the characters you receive regularly and with the currency that the game gives to you. Whether they're as forthgiving going into the future, we'll have to wait and see. As it stands now, the free-to-play experience is about as good as it gets. Take that with a fairly large pinch of salt though, because I'm no gacha expert. I've only played a couple, but my experience with the game is that you can still get a lot out of it without having to spend a penny. A small thing I'd like to mention is that going into this game, I did have a bit of a fear that it would be potentially overly pandery. Now, obviously, it's a Persona 5 spin-off, but I just had this fear that it wouldn't take itself as seriously because of its attachment to the original game. I'm pleased to say that this isn't the case, and in fact, considering how oversaturated some of the characters are in Persona 5, it does still kind of hit that nostalgia bone when you've got your new cast of characters bumping into the old Phantom Thieves. Be that in the main story or the event that they've got running at the minute, where you do little chapters going back through the first palace of Persona 5. To sum up my experience 40 hours into Persona 5X, I would have to say that the game is far more of a Persona experience than I even thought it was going to be. And I had reasonably high expectations for the game. But the combat, despite being slightly more simple than original Persona 5, produces enough robust trials and challenges that I actually think it's extremely well designed. And going forward with new characters on the horizon and new squad synergies, as it were, I can really see myself getting locked into trying to clear some of these tougher trials. The life sim stuff is extremely addicting, in some ways more so than original Persona 5. If you can manage your action points and stamina, I could really see you just having full days on this game where you just spend it out in the world, walking around, taking on part-time jobs, talking to social links without engaging in combat at all. And whereas in Persona 5 you'd always have a deadline to hit, in this game you really do just spend hours doing whatever you want. So I would say, even if you're slightly a fan of Persona 5, try the game. It's a slow start with a few too many tutorials, and I don't think the writing is quite as good as Persona 5, but once you get into the rhythm of it, there's a lot of game here to be enjoyed. So whether you're on your phone or you want to download it on Steam, it's free to play, so you can't really lose. But if you do get hooked by this game, just try to resist that shadow self of yours that tells you you absolutely need a 6 Joker. But what's been your experience with the game? Have you been partially no-lifing it like me, or are you still grinding your way through Ryder? Let me know in the comments, and definitely don't tell me about your best pulls, because I will get jealous. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to the channel.